Hi, I'm Subhashni, and I welcome you to this session on analytics, HR analytics in depth. As you know, we had last stopped our session at the start of analyzing engagement survey data. And today we'll take it a step forward from there. So the business problem was pretty simple. Which are the factors that influence the engagement in the shop floor of a manufacturing unit, and to what extent? The salient point to consider is that no employee ID linkage is available. So there is no way to link the data back to any individual here. And this is a common methodology in engagement surveys. The Y variable is an engagement survey score. So let's look at the data. It will give us some clarity. When we went to the survey data sheet, we can see that there is enough and more data related to the survey score, which is between 0 and 5, the department, job potential as per appraisal. So yes, the next four values are related to appraisal. And then there is information about the education of the employee, the amount of time the employee has spent in the company, and recruitment source. Where did the company recruit the employee from? And then there's some information around his last hike, percentage, job role, etc. So we've got pretty good data. When we went and did count A, we could see that the data is complete in all the data sets. There's no more data to be got. And this is the data that we have today for the analysis. As you know, I always like keeping a survey summary sheet in the data so that it's very easy for me to go back and check on what I did in the earlier run through on that data. So there is no missing values, there's no outliers. The survey score is only between 0 to 5, and there is enough and more dummy variables created, which are on highest education, last job, hike percentages. There is no calculation required for derived variables. So we have what is a very clean data set. And now we would want to move into the visualized space. So create a pivot table, and then with the outcome of the pivot table, let's create the outcome of the visualization tables. So here's the pivot table, and then we've taken out the data into the visualization tab. So one of the first things to do is to understand that perhaps between 0 and 5, we can club some of these fields so that we get a low, medium, high type of understanding of the data. So yes, this is something which is going to help us. And then once we have done that, we want to look at how this data sort of works around with the job potential, job performance, appraisals, and these. So if I go back to summary where all the data and the outcomes are already summarized for your information, here you go. We have decided to club the data. So there's been a step of clubbing of data, cleaning, if you can so say. As I've mentioned to you, Dekova and I is not necessarily a linear process. It's a circular process. In between, when we see new things, we can go back and change those values, incorporate those values into the process. If we look at low, medium, high, 16% of the employees have put in a low engagement survey score, 58% have given a medium, and 26% have given a high scores. When we look at the data across departments, we find that there is nothing much because there's only one department which is considered. Okay. And we find that the employees with higher engagement scores also seem to be the ones whom their bosses have considered as high potential as per the appraisal. There's also some distinct information which says that candidates with higher engagement scores are also seen as higher performing individuals as per appraisal. And there is a distinct difference between an employee with high, medium, and low engagement scores as compared when we compare their appraisal scores. So now what do we do? How do we build a exact methodology of knowing that this engagement score leads to this amount of productivity or this type of engagement and appraisal scores? So when we look at this process, the first thing we do in the analysis, so we have done define, collect, organize, visualize, seen some trends, and now we're going to do the statistical analysis. The first way to go about it is to understand which are the variables with the highest relationship with survey scores. So when we look at it, I'll just increase the size of this, that when we look at the final engagement scores and the drivers, we find that these are the outcomes which are very correlated. When they increase or decrease, there is a distinct difference in the engagement score. Okay, so there are some parameters around job appraisals, there's some parameters around cultural fitment, job role, and education. Okay, so this is great. How did I run the correlation? By looking at the analysis toolpack. You've seen it earlier. So we did the analysis toolpack and ran the correlation. The outcome of the correlation is here. Now, the way to get the drivers is pretty simple. We took the values of the correlation with the final engagement scores, and then we did a sorting after running the absolute value. And at the end of this process, we were able to see the top drivers of engagement. So if somebody was to ask which are the factors which are really, really affecting engagement, so these are the 10, 12 factors which are affecting engagement. Now, which are the ones which are positive? That means when the increase in this factor happens, there's a distinct increase in the engagement. You can see all the ones with a positive value. When they increase, the engagement increases, and all the ones with the negative values, when they increase, the engagement decreases. Now, this is really interesting because it says the highest education diploma, So if you are a diploma holder, then you seem to be highly disengaged. If you get recruited through a direct intervention, you seem to be highly disengaged. If your job role is in engineering and maintenance, then there seems to be a high level of disengagement. And if your experience has been 0 to 6 months, okay, then there seems to be high level of disengagement. This is this is a bit surprising, perhaps, or this also points out to some of the remedies that this organization needs to do if they really want to improve the stickiness of their employees, right? With this, I'll close this video and we will see the linear regression model in the next video.